think it's only normal that with the loss comes disappointment and being upset. But then again, it's another.
Unprecedented ban strikes. Tennis star Alycia Parks faces indefinite suspension following devastating comments targeting Alex Eala's ailing mother. Meanwhile, Manila erupts with excitement. Welcome to Tennis Court Chronicles, your exclusive destination where competition heats up and controversy never sleeps. Buckle up, devoted followers, because today's revelation is sending absolute shockwaves throughout the professional tennis community. This transcends simple ground strokes and strategy today. This involves respect, kinship, and boundaries that were violated in the most devastating manner imaginable. Anyone believing the Melbourne drama concluded prematurely needs reconsideration. We've just obtained verified reports regarding substantial disciplinary measures that have stunned tournament officials worldwide. Rising American talent Alycia Parks faces indefinite competition suspension, absolutely confirmed. Suspended, barred, removed from competition. The reason? Her alleged statements directed toward beloved competitor Alex. Remarks so deeply hurtful, so deliberately malicious that they attack the singular individual Alex champions relentlessly each tournament, specifically her ailing mother. We're dissecting every component of this explosive controversy. The monetary penalty, the competitive ban, the emotional fallout, and the tremendous social media firestorm consuming tennis communities globally. However, there's more. Amid this turbulent situation, Alex has arrived in Manila for an unprecedented milestone. The WTA 125 Philippine Women's Championship has officially commenced, and the celebrated princess of Philippine tennis prepares for an explosive confrontation against Russian competitor Elena Kureva. We've secured complete bracket information, facility details, and exclusive insider coverage on additional Filipino competitors, including Steffi Aludo, Elizabeth Abarque, and others defending their homeland courts. This represents our most comprehensive coverage episode ever produced. Remain absolutely engaged. Listen, before we explore this explosive story, please smash that engagement button, subscribe immediately, and activate those notifications. You absolutely need membership within the Tennis Court Chronicles community as this dramatic saga continues developing. Let's begin immediately, everyone. We must address the most significant development first. The official announcement emerged mere hours ago and has created tremors throughout WTA headquarters in Florida, extending directly to the Rizal Memorial venue in Manila. Alycia Parks, recognized for her devastating service game and volatile competitive temperament, has received a monetary fine totaling $2,000 and, more critically, an indefinite competition suspension from tennis governing authorities. Typically, financial penalties in professional tennis address equipment destruction, timing infractions, or perhaps audible profanity usage. However, an indefinite competition suspension, that's exceptionally uncommon, that's extremely severe, that represents career-threatening punishment. So what transpired exactly? It originates from that intensely competitive, extraordinarily contentious opening round confrontation at the Melbourne Championships just recently. Everyone witnessed it unfold. Eala competing against Parks. The final score showed Parks claiming victory, but the genuine conflict wasn't reflected on scoreboards. It permeated the atmosphere. The competitive tension was suffocatingly palpable. According to confidential sources directly connected to the incident, the verbal exchanges didn't remain confined to competition. During heated competitive moments, statements were supposedly delivered by Parks that deliberately targeted Alex's relatives. Specifically, reliable sources verified the offensive comments were aimed at Alex's mother, Mrs. Eala. For those carefully following Alex's competitive journey, and certainly everyone here at Tennis Court Chronicles does, you understand that her mother represents the foundational support of that household. But you also recognize the heartbreaking circumstances. Mrs. Eala is presently combating a severe medical condition. This medical condition is precisely why she hasn't appeared in the supporters section lately. She hasn't been physically capable of traveling. She hasn't been able to embrace her daughter following those exhausting Melbourne matches. She's engaged in a struggle significantly more challenging than any championship tiebreaker. For any competitor to supposedly exploit that suffering, to utilize a mother's illness-caused absence as competitive psychological warfare, it's absolutely reprehensible. Reliable sources suggest that these remarks inflicted profound emotional trauma, not exclusively to Alex, who had to endure it while attempting to concentrate on her competitive performance, but to the complete Eala household. Imagine being a mother observing from a medical facility or rehabilitation space, physically unable to be present protecting your child, and discovering that your personal medical struggle was weaponized as an insult during international broadcast coverage. It's absolutely heartbreaking. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The incident didn't remain confined to competition. It detonated across mainstream journalism and ignited social media platforms explosively. Trending phrases like "justice for Alex" and "respect in tennis" gained tremendous momentum within hours. The collective outrage was so overwhelming that it compelled governing organizations to intervene immediately. The authorities needed to establish firm guidelines regarding ethical conduct and competitive sportsmanship standards. This isn't about excessive sensitivity. Competitive trash talk exists within sports culture, but involving family members exploiting illness that definitively crosses established boundaries. The suspension remains indefinite, which means Parks exists in competitive limbo. Her ranking progression will freeze. Her tournament earnings are temporarily suspended, and she faces a tremendous challenge if she ever hopes to regain respect from fellow competitors. We're anticipating an official statement from Alycia Parks' management team. Will she issue an apology? Will she file an appeal? Currently, complete silence. But for Alex Eala, the ultimate vindication is achieving success, and she's prepared to deliver that vindication ruthlessly right here in Manila. Let's redirect from that negativity and examine the magnificent spectacle currently unfolding in Manila. Alex Eala has returned home. Following that disappointing Melbourne elimination and the disturbing Parks controversy, Alex arrived in the Philippines to an extraordinary homecoming, and the timing couldn't be more appropriate. We're observing genuine history unfolding, everyone. The WTA 125 Philippine Women's Championship is finally happening. For generations, Filipino enthusiasts have demanded a legitimate WTA-sanctioned competition. We've hosted ITF tournaments. We've organized Davis Cup matches, but we have never experienced the Women's Tennis Association establishing tour operations on our territory until this moment. The Rizal Memorial Tennis Complex has received a dramatic transformation. Ground-level reports indicate the competition surfaces are immaculate blue hard courts, replicating the velocity of the Melbourne Championships. The spectator areas expanded significantly, the illumination broadcast-grade quality. Tournament coordinators anticipated Alex's participation. They anticipated the fans' arrival, and they have successfully delivered. The environment is absolutely electric. It's tropical, it's deafening, and it's authentically Filipino. For Alex, this tournament represents everything meaningful. She's the secondary seed. She's the promotional image on advertising billboards throughout EDSA. She's the reason ticket purchases have skyrocketed dramatically. And the bracket has been disclosed, and it's absolutely compelling. The 32-player main bracket matches have been announced this Saturday, and Alex Eala has become the primary target. Alex will confront Elena Kureva of Russia in her opening competition. Do not underestimate Kureva. Seriously, do not underestimate her abilities. Let's examine the competitive comparison. Elena Kureva is a formidable baseline consistency specialist. She achieved a career peak ranking of number 142 previously in September 2025. She understands what winning requires. She possesses 6 championship titles to her credentials. She was a championship finalist at the WTA 125 in Huzhou, demonstrating she excels at this precise competition level. She made her professional tour debut at the WTA 500 in Tokyo. This is a competitor who has performed on significant stages. Here's the critical information that makes this matchup dangerous. These two share competitive history. They competed previously back in the ITF circuit tournaments, specifically at the W15 Million in Spain during 2020. In that previous match, Kuriva defeated a considerably younger Alex. She knows how to defeat her. She possesses the psychological advantage of having a victory against the Filipino champion. However, that was 2020. That was developing Alex. The Alex Eala of 2026 is a Grand Slam Junior Championship winner, a top 50 ranked player, and a mature professional. Kuriva employs a powerful, consistent strategy. She will attempt to extend the rallies, anticipating Alex will commit an error. She knows Alex is emerging from a controversial, emotionally draining week in Melbourne. She knows Alex is experiencing tremendous pressure to succeed for the hometown supporters. Kuriva's strategy will be to neutralize the Rizal Memorial crowd by frustrating Alex early. But Alex has the left-handed advantage. Her forehand has been registering higher velocities this season. If Alex can control the points and harness the Manila energy, the enthusiasm of thousands of supporters chanting her name, she can overwhelm Kuriva decisively. This match is scheduled for the primetime broadcasting slot. The entire nation will be observing. Can Alex transform the anger from the Parks incident and the love from the Manila supporters into a commanding performance? We are forecasting a 3-set dramatic finish, but with Eala emerging victorious. While Alex is the featured attraction, the Philippine Women's Championship is demonstrating the breadth of Filipino competitive talent. We are not a single-player nation anymore. We must give tremendous recognition to Steffi Alto. Remember that name carefully? This 17-year-old prodigy from Ozon del Sur, currently enrolled at Cebu College in Malaban, just etched her name into the historical records. Steffi Alto has become the inaugural winner of a WTA competitive match on Philippine territory. In the qualifying competition this Saturday, she confronted fellow Filipina Angela Alcala. The final score, a complete domination, 6-1, 6-love. Alto was absolutely merciless. Reports indicate she didn't allow Alcala breathing room. She initiated with a blistering forehand winner and concluded the match with the identical shot. It was poetic. It was commanding. Winning 6-love in the second set, a bagel in your initial WTA appearance, that is absolutely ruthless. Steffi Alto now progresses to confront Sakura Hosogi of Japan in the subsequent qualifying round. Hosogi is experienced, but Alto has the competitive momentum. If she succeeds, she enters the main bracket alongside Eala. Let's examine the other Filipinos who have confirmed their positions in the main bracket. These competitors are entering the challenging arena against world-class competition. Elizabeth Abarque takes on Mai Hantama of Japan. This is a challenging bracket draw. Mayama is a legitimate tour-level player. She made her main bracket debut at the Melbourne Championships back in 2024. She plays aggressively and quickly. Abarque will need to serve effectively and disrupt Hanama's competitive rhythm. It's a classic underdog versus favorite setup, and we appreciate those matchups. Kay and Emma faces Tatiana Prozorova of Russia. Kay Anemina, one of our emerging collegiate champions, faces the 22-year-old Russian Tatiana Prozorova. Prozorova is absolutely formidable. She holds 7 ITF championship titles and has been ranked as high as 140. Emina will need the performance of her lifetime, but competing at home does remarkable things to competitive odds. If Emina can utilize the crowd, anything becomes possible. Tenny Maids versus Manaka Sani of Thailand gives us a Southeast Asian regional rivalry. Tenny Middays takes on Thailand's champion. Manaka Suni Sankit is in excellent form, having reached the championship final of the WTA 125 in Mumbai. She knows the environmental conditions. She knows the Asian competitive style. This will be a confrontation of velocity and agility. Maid is the underdog competitor, but she's a resilient fighter. Also in the competition, we have Lorraine Jallarina, who is currently competing against Pinar Pipu of Thailand in the qualifying rounds. We are sending all our encouragement to Lorraine to fight for that main bracket position. You have to pause and recognize what this week represents. Updated. On one side of the world, we have the unfortunate side of tennis, the Alycia Parks incident, the disrespect, the negativity, the reminder that sportsmanship is vulnerable. On the other side, here in Manila, we have the inspiring side. A nation mobilizing behind its competitors. Oh, young girls like Steffi Aludo experiencing their first exposure to the elite levels. Alex Eala returning home to recover and to triumph. This is the contradictory nature of sport. Photographers are documenting images of the facility, the supporters, the players attempting to capture this moment in Philippine sports heritage. Journalists are submitting stories about the cultural importance of the competition, interviewing local authorities about the investment in athletic infrastructure, speaking with young players at local academies about how Alex Eala has influenced them. Ooh. This is the kind of thorough coverage that helps cultivate the sport beyond just the results and rankings. The weather in Manila during this time of year is characteristically warm and tropical, which affects competitive conditions substantially. Balls can become noticeably heavier in tropical air, not traveling quite as rapidly through the environment. Players perspire more heavily, requiring frequent towels and increasing the danger of fluid depletion if hydration intake isn't properly monitored. The sun, when it's shining directly on the competition surface, can make visibility problematic for serves and overhead shots. These climatic factors add another dimension of difficulty to an already challenging sport. Players who have developed in similar climates have an inherent advantage in adapting to the condition. For Alex, having trained extensively in Spain, where conditions can fluctuate dramatically from the hot, arid summers to cooler, moist winters, she's experienced a broad range of competitive environments. But there's still something unique about competing at home in the climate you developed in. Consuming familiar food, sleeping in a familiar environment, being surrounded by your language and culture. These subtle advantages can make a substantial difference in a player's performance and psychological state. The prize money for a WTA 125 competition is substantial enough to make a genuine difference in the careers of players ranked outside the top 100. For many competitors, this represents a substantial portion of their yearly income. The champion typically receives approximately $15,000 to $20,000, with the prize distribution allocated across all rounds. For Filipino players competing on homeland territory, even reaching the second round can represent an important financial advancement that finances future training and travel to other tournaments. Professional tennis is financially demanding. Coaching, travel, lodging, stringing rackets, physiotherapy. All of these expenses accumulate quickly. Many players outside the top 50 operate on restrictive budgets, carefully evaluating which tournaments to enter based on prize money potential versus travel expenditures. This financial reality makes every match significant, every ranking point precious. It's part of what makes the challenge of the lower-level tours so demanding. Players are competing not just for ranking points and victories, but for their ability to continue financing their careers. It adds a dimension of pressure that fans watching from home might not fully comprehend. When you see a player celebrating winning a first-round match, they're not just enthusiastic about the victory itself. They're often relieved about the financial security it provides for the next few weeks of competition. The mental toughness required to sustain a professional tennis career cannot be exaggerated. The constant travel, the pressure to perform, the physical requirements, the financial stress, the isolation of being on the road, these factors create enormous psychological obstacles. Many talented players burn out not because their tennis abilities weren't adequate, but because they couldn't manage the mental and emotional dimensions of professional competition. Sports psychologists have become progressively important in contemporary tennis, helping players develop coping mechanisms, sustain motivation, manage anxiety, and build confidence. For Alex, having access to sports psychology assistance, whether formal or informal, will be essential as she navigates this pressure-intensive week. The ability to compartmentalize, to focus on the manageable elements of her performance while releasing the external noise will determine whether she can perform at her best. Meditation, visualization, breathing exercises, pre-match routines, all of these techniques can help center an athlete's mind and prepare them for competition. The best players in the world aren't necessarily always the most talented. Often they're the ones who best manage their mental approach under pressure. As Monday approaches and the main bracket begins, the anticipation throughout Metro Manila is overwhelming. Sports sections and newspapers are dominated by Philippine Women's Championship coverage. Radio programs are analyzing matchups and making predictions. Social media is overwhelmed with messages of encouragement for the Filipino players. Alex's Instagram following has increased in recent days as casual fans become invested in her narrative. The intersection between sports enthusiasm and national pride is powerful, transforming individual athletic competitions into collective cultural moments. This is what distinguishes a regular tournament from an event. An event surpasses sport. It becomes about identity, representation, history, and possibility. It becomes about a nation observing itself reflected on a global platform and appreciating what it sees. It becomes about young people glimpsing a future they didn't know existed. It becomes about communities uniting around shared hope and pride. The Philippine Women's Championship is an event, and right at the center of it all is Alex Eala, supporting the weight of expectation, but also elevated by an ocean of support. She's been training for this moment her entire life. Not specifically for this tournament, but for the opportunity to represent her country at the highest level, to make her family proud, to justify all the sacrifices to inspire the next generation, to prove that Filipino athletes belong on the world stage. We are going to be documenting the Philippine Women's Championship comprehensively to completion. We will have updates on every Alex Eala match, every surprise, and every development in this evolving story with Alycia Parks. Do you think the suspension for Alicia Parks was justified? Was it too severe or not severe enough? Let us know in the comments section. We want to hear your perspective on the competitive banter versus harassment conversation, and what are your predictions for Alex Eala versus Selena Careva? Will Alex get her redemption for that 2020 defeat? Drop your score predictions. If you enjoyed this comprehensive analysis, please smash that engagement button. It really helps the channel expand. Share this video with every tennis enthusiast you know. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Tennis Court Chronicles. We are your exclusive pass to the world of tennis. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, keep your focus on the ball. We'll see you in the next one.